Hey guys, I paused there for a second, which means that you're going to have to watch a second video here. All right. So after we open the stuff, I'm going to go up to, after we go this, in SPSS, you'll get data view and variable view. All right. Let's go in variable view. Then let's go up to edit. We're going to go to options. All right. In options, under variable list, make sure that you're checked display name. And make sure underneath that the box called alphabetical is filled out. Then you can scroll on down like I'm going to do and hit OK. All right. Now, you should have something that looks like this. All right. This will tell you all the different variables that you have in your data set. So if you'll scroll down, if you're in NES 2004.save, you're going to scroll down, you're going to see under the name category, you should see something that looks like a spreadsheet. And you're going to have about 242 lines in this spreadsheet. The last one of them should be Young Therm. All right. Now, a couple things that we should understand about the variable view, the variable view in SPSS. Okay. First thing that we can look at is here. This tells us the name of the variable. Those are going to be the things that we work at. All right. But the name might not tell us all that much. All right. So we've got this weird variable, if you look on line 12, called Asian traits. Oh, what the heck does Asian traits mean? That could mean anything in the world, all right? Let's go over to label here, all right? And then at label, let's click. Actually, excuse me. Go under values, and you're going to see this button with 3 dots. Click that button, all right? So what that will tell you is that the values of this variable range from -9, which is a negative evaluation, to +9, which is a positive evaluation. To understand what that means, we go over to labels, we stretch this out, all right? And we see, okay, this is the respondent's stereotype of Asians, apparently. Whether they believe that Asians are lazy or hardworking, intelligent or unintelligent, untrustworthy or trustworthy, all right? So, now, when we go back and we hit this thing with 3 buttons, we can see that basically what this is telling us is that there's a variable that asks people whether or not they thought Asians had mostly negative, they thought of Asians mostly in terms of negative stereotypes or positive stereotypes, okay? If you said that you have a negative perception of Asian Americans, then you were coded as a negative number. If you said you have a positive perception, you were coded as a positive number. This will become important as we start to try to interpret the variables, because remember, the variables that we're going to look at are just numbers. In order to understand them, we need some sort of key that can help us transfer the information back to things that we to information that we can actually use. So we're going to need this variable view. All right, but for the time being, let's go down to this data view tab. All right. Now, what you're looking at here is you are looking at a data set, a data set taken from the National Election Survey in 2004. And if you want to, you can do like me and scroll all the way down, and you can see that this data set should have about 1,213 people in it, or 1,212 lines, okay? that means each line here, like we talked about with the Moneyball class, each line here is a person. As each one of the columns is a different way that a person answered various questions. So let's look at this right here. All right, cell number 1, or I'm sorry, this cell under abortion funding and number 1. This means that the person who is coded number 1 gave an answer on abortion funding that is coded as a 1. On abortion imp, whatever that means, their answer was related to a 4, and so on and so forth. As long as you understand that each of these persons is, each of these lines is an individual persons, you'll be okay. So, the first thing we might want to do is look at some single variable statistics like we talked about the other day. So we're going to go up to Analyze. We're going to go to Descriptive Statistics. Let's go to Frequency. All right. So what pops up should be a little box like this. Again, I'm going to do this again so that you can understand what you're looking for. All right. I'm going up to Analyze, Descriptive Statistics, Frequencies. I'm just going to click on that. And then I get a box, oops, sorry gang, that looks like this. So, I'm going to go in and let's find the age variable, okay? So just highlight the age variable. Once you've highlighted the age variable, you can either double click it or you can click once on it, highlight it, and use the arrow to move it over. All right? Now once we've done that, once you've got age over here, let's hit OK. What you'll see is SPSS spit out a table at you. Okay? Looking at the table here, you'll see that first, there are 2,012 people who gave their age in the data set. Looking over here, this is how old a person was, so 18. This is how many people in the data set said that they were 18 years old. So 8 people said that they were 18. 15 people said that they were age 21, and so on and so forth. Okay? These two columns, these columns towards the end are are important. All right, this percent right here, and to some extent, we'll talk about this the other day, or when I see you on Tuesday if it comes up. But either this percent or this valid percent is a pretty good thing to look at. This basically says that 0.7% of the total number of people were 18. 1.4% of the 2012 people were 20 years old. Okay? The cumulative percent is exactly what you might think. It's keeping track of everybody over here, and it's adding the percents together. So when we say the cumulative percent at age 20 is 3.8%, what we're saying is that 0.7 is 18 plus 1.7 is 19 equals 2.4 plus 1.4 equals 3.8. So the cumulative percentage will in this case tell you everybody who is 20 or below. All right? Cumulative percentage will tell you everybody in that category or and in categories before that. All right? So this is interesting. You can scroll down. You can see like, oh, 24 people are 48. That's great and things like that. But say we wanted to know something like, all right, this is interesting, but how old is the average person in this data set? All right. We're going to go look up here. Actually, let's go back to the main window, the output window of SPS, or I'm sorry, not the output window, the NES 2004.save. Okay? So here we are back there. All right. So we want to know something about the average person in the data set. So we're going to go up to Analyze. We're going to go to Descriptive Statistics. And we're going to go to Frequencies. And here we are, back at that same window. You'll notice when we go back to the same window that the variable that we put there is still there. SPSS will always keep doing something until you tell it to do something. So you can come back, you've already gone into Analyze, Descriptive Statistics, Frequencies, and you put age there. Unless you take age out of there, SPSS will leave that in there just to be convenient, all right? In this case, all right, we've already had age in there. Let's go to statistics. All right. And while we're in statistics, let's check under central tendency, mean and median. You know what they are. Let's click standard deviation. And let's, Lauren, just for you, let's click quartiles and cut points. All right. And the cut point should say 10 equal groups. All right. We're going to hit continue. We're back here. And then we're going to hit OK. All right. Let's look at some result. Same 1,212 people. But in this case, we've got some more information. We can see that the mean, which you know what that is, that's the average, is 47.27 years old. The median is 47 years old. It doesn't really apply since they're so close here, but if we were only going to pick one, remember, we're going to take the median, we're going to take the mean because we only take the median in the case of exceptional outliers. Now, the standard deviation here is about 17.142. Well, it is 17.142. What that means is the standard deviation is about 17 years. What that means is that 90% of the data set is between 47 minus 17, which is 30, and 47 plus 17, which is 64. So what we're saying is that 90% of the data set is between 30 and 64. Don't really know what more to say about that, so I'll move on. And clearly, I'm going to go back. I'm going to review all of this when I come back in class on Tuesday. So if you have questions, that's fine. All right. Looking at the percentiles now. All right. Think about the percentiles in terms of a cumulative percentage. All right. So this is the 10th percentile, and it says age 24. Well, let's go down and let's look at age 24 in the frequency table here. Oh, how about that? The cumulative percentage is about 10. What the percentiles tell you is that 10% of the sample, 10% of those 1,212 people are 24 or less. It's just another way to express the cumulative percentage. You get down a little further. The 40th percentile is 42. That just means that 40% of the sample is 42 years old or less. Whenever you hear something about percentiles, maybe you're thinking about standardized test grades and things like that. The percentile is just the number, if you take a standardized test and you're in the 96th percentile, what that means is that 96% of the people scored either the same or less than you did on the test, okay? So the percentile is just the cumulative percentage expressed another way. All right, reminder, to do all that, we're going to go into well, let's do it again. Let's do it with a different variable. All right. So we're going to go back up. We're going to do Analyze, Descriptive Statistics, and Frequencies. Let's take age out of there. Now let's go down to something like Oh, I'm trying to find a good one that I think is interesting. Sorry for the delay, guys. This has to be fascinating for you. Yeah, let's do income. All right. So we're going to do income. HH. Okay. Income HH, remember we want the mean, median, standard deviation. Oh, look, the mean, median, and standard deviation already checked because SPSS keeps doing something until we tell them not to. Quartiles and cut points, good times. All right. So let's go ahead and hit continue. And then we'll hit OK. And what do we have here? All right, let's scroll down here and look at this. It becomes immediately apparent when we look at this that this is not a straight measure of somebody's income. Instead, it's a categorical variable. So let's take a look. You may not have to do this with me, but you can choose to, all right? Go to NES2004.save. And I'm going to go find income again. I'll find income HH. There it is. All right. So it says person number 1 has 17 for income HH. Does that mean that they only have that they make $17,000 a year? Well, we can see from variable view. Or we can see from the results table that we just looked at that no, a 17 does not correspond with $17,000. All right, we know that because we can look at the values. All right, what this is saying is that if you have a 17, oh God, I'm not even looking at the right thing. All right, so all I did, guys, was that I scrolled down to income HH. And I went here, I looked at values, and I hit this button, okay? And I scrolled down and I found 17. Okay? So this is telling me that if you got a 17 in this data set, that you made between $50,000 and basically $60,000 per year, all right? That's why it's so important to know the variable view tab. And to understand how to find out how variables are coded. Because if you don't know how variables are coded, it's going to be hard to decipher the results. Okay, so let's go back to the output window here. Now, let's scroll back up. Yeah, SPSS, behave. All right, so here we are at the chart of income. All right. This is saying that 10,070 people gave us their answer on the income question. All right. The mean was 14.94. Well, we can just scroll down here and say, okay, the mean was about 15. That says that the average person made between $40,000 and $45,000 because that's the value of 15. Okay. The median person was in category 16. That meant that the median person, the average person, the middle person in the data set made between $45,000 and $50,000. The standard deviation was 6, which means that around the mean, basically this is about 15, right? So if the standard deviation is 6, that means that the value for the household income statistic is going to range, 90% of them will range between 9 and 21. So we go down, we look at 9 and 21. We see that 9. Okay. If you got a 9, you made between $17,000 and $20,000. If you got a 21, yeah, come on. At 21, you made between $90,000 and $105,000. Easy, right? Good. Well, let's add some more fun stuff in then. We may want to not just compare variables, or I'm sorry, not just know stuff about single variables, but we may want to know something about the relationship between them. I'm sorry, the relationship between two different variables. So I'm going to go back to the NES window. All right. Let's go up to Analyze. Let's go to Descriptive Statistics. This time let's go on Crosstabs. All right. In row, let's put age. I didn't like that income variable. Yeah, this is good. And then in column, let's put Congress thermometer. Okay. Oh gosh. All right, guys. So all I did, and I'm sorry I have to keep moving this around. I put age in the rows bottom. Here, let's start this again, just so you see what I did. All right. Analyze, descriptive statistics, crosstabs. In the rows box, I'm going to put age. In the column box, I'm going to put congressional thermometer. All right. I'm also going to go over to statistics. Yeah, I lied. Let's go to cells, I think is where it's at. Okay. And let's check row and column percentages. I'm going to hit continue. And then I'm going to hit OK. All right. What do we have here? What we've basically done is we've sliced and diced the variables into subcategories. All right. So let's go down here. So I should explain that a feeling thermometer is basically when you rate Congress or rate anything else from 0 to 100. So you think if Congress is doing a terrible job, they get a rating of 0. If you think they're doing a perfect job, you give them 100. We just call them feeling thermometers, and that's the way we ask people to evaluate how they think certain things are doing. So here, feeling thermometer number 1. All right, or I'm sorry. Look under 20 and look under 0. It says the number 1. All right. That says that there was one 20-year-old who gave Congress a 0. All right. If we go over to 30 and we look under 19, we'll see 2. All right. That means out of the 1,212, out of the approximately 1,200 people that answered this, there were two people who were both 19 and gave Congress a rating of 30. So basically this just subdivides it by 2 categories. I think I want to hold off on explaining the percentages until I see you guys in person so I can deal with any misgivings. So that's it. I'm going to wrap up. And yeah, if you have any questions, feel free to email me. And I hope you have a good weekend. Bye.